Hey there, Daquan Henry here from the Cynthia Ostos real estate team, back again with another monthly market update for you. As always, the Toronto Real Estate Board does release their monthly stats reporting all these sales and figures that have happened across the Greater Toronto area. And every month I like to analyze these figures and report back to you guys the most important details in my opinion. So let's hop right into it. Looking at the figure that most people care about the most is average prices on a year-over-year basis. Prices are still trending down, and if you've been following for a bit, you know that this has been continuing since the peak of the market back in 2022. And fast forwarding today, we are still having people have to deal with a whole bunch of items in the market, from renewals on their interest rates, geopolitical tensions with wars overseas, oil and gas prices fluctuating, as well as unemployment rates here in Canada. It's no surprise that a lot of buyers are still sitting on the sidelines, a bit fearful of what's going on in the market, and that elimination of demand is still pushing prices down across the board. Moving towards some of our other market indicators, this is where we're seeing a lot of headlines in the news right now. While this increase in sales isn't very large at just 1.7% year over year, this is signaling that in March of this year, there were more sales that happened in this month compared to last year. And this is significant because it could be an indicator that the market is going to stabilize a little bit. In no way do I think that the market is starting to rebound or prices go up or anything along those lines. But the fact that we are starting to see more sales than last year shows us that buyers are feeling a little bit better than they did last year and wanting to go out there and purchase real estate. But it is a very small percent increase, and I am going to show another chart speaking a little bit more to that. Looking at our new listings and active listing figures, I think that this is where the bigger story is being told. As a reminder, new listings represents all of the new homes or new properties that are coming to the market, and active listings is going to represent all of the homes that are actively for sale. This is for the month of March. The reason why I find this is interesting is because this is telling us that the supply, the amount of homes that are coming up for sale, is decreasing, especially looking at things year over year, while the sales are going to be representing the demand for homes is increasing. So we're starting to see demand pick up while we are also starting to see supply dip at the same time. Like I said before, this typically means that the market is stabilizing, because for the months leading up to this, we saw the opposite, where sales were down, inventory was picking up, there was a lot more supply than there was demand. But it seems in this month we are seeing a little bit of that inverse. But I do want to show you more information just to give you more context to all of these figures. Jumping into the Havistat, this is a data tracking software tool that a lot of us professional real estate agents use just to track all the sales that are happening here across the GTA. And if we look at the lines here, I pulled up the last 3 years from 2024 to 2026. We are the green line here representing 2026. Yellow is 2025. And as you can see, the increase in sales is very little. And because of this, I feel it's still too early to tell if demand is rushing back or if we are starting to see things rebound truly. So we're just going to have to wait and see how the rest of the year plays out. But as you can see from 2024, there is still a large gap in the amount of sales that have happened from previous years to this year. The other chart I wanted to pull up is looking at specifically new listings. Everything else is going to be the same the last 3 years, as well as looking at information in just the GTA. As you can see, normally at the beginning of the year, there's not that many new listings. Not a lot of sellers want to come to the market while it's snowing or the weather's cold or, anything along those lines. So naturally, we start to see an uptick when we get to the spring. We are this green line here. And what's interesting is when we compare 2025, there were a lot more new listings that came to the market last year versus this year. And that's interesting because we know that 2025 was one of the worst or slowest markets that we've seen in a while, where not many sales happened. A lot of sellers were not successful in finding a buyer. A lot of sellers taking a year or more to sell. Some people terminating their listings and waiting to bring them back. And leaving 2025 on such a bad note and coming into 2026, you would think that a lot of sellers would rush to the market in the spring and we'd start to see a lot more new listings come to market than we did last year, but that doesn't seem to be happening. And there's many different reasons why that could happen. Possibly people are waiting till the late spring, maybe April or May. Personally, the reason why I think we're not seeing that many new listings this year is because sellers have simply given up. Prices are still trending down. There's still a lot of inventory. Sellers are not happy with the offers they're getting, if any. So I think a lot of them are being forced to change their strategy and not sell at all, and instead pivot to renting out their home. Obviously, renting out your home is not possible for every seller, but if we do look at this chart, I pulled up all of the active lease listings in the GTA over the last 3 years. And as you can see, we're the green line here, where this is the most amount of active lease listings that we've had. And as you can see, we have a lot more active lease listings across the GTA than we did over the last 2 years. And if we look at the average list price for these lease listings, you can see they are also the lowest they've been over these last 3 years, just because of all the flooded inventory of people who weren't able to sell and now having to pivot to lease is increasing that inventory and the amount of homes listed for lease, which then pushes down rent prices overall because tenants have that many more options when looking for a home. Where the market goes from here will be very interesting to watch, especially in the short term. This final chart will be one that I watch very closely, and if you've seen my other videos, you're familiar with it. But this is looking at the market in the GTA over the last 6 years, with this blue line illustrating average prices and this dotted line representing the amount of active listings currently for sale. As you can see, in 2022, this is when prices peaked and we've been going down ever since. And at the same time, in 2022, that's when we had the lowest amount of inventory, and now we've seen things start piling up and increasing. Naturally, you get these peaks and valleys here as people want to go on the market during the warmer months and then off the market during the colder months. But until we start to see this active listing figure decrease dramatically, which will mean there are just not that many homes for sale and options for buyers, it's going to be very hard for prices to truly rebound and start increasing. At the beginning of the year, I was super confident that going into the spring, we would see a lot more active listings than we did last year. But based off the data that we've seen before, it doesn't look like that's going to happen, especially if all those sellers decide to list their home for lease and give up on selling. And that dynamic could help stabilize supply and demand. And then in turn, we start to see prices start to stabilize. But this is just something we're going to have to monitor and see how it rolls out. If you got to the end of this video, I'm really hoping it means you did learn something or you did enjoy getting the information that I shared. If you did have any questions about the things I chatted about today, please feel free to drop a comment or click the link in my bio and feel free to book a time to speak with me direct. I'd be very happy to connect with you and discuss any of your real estate goals, whether you're buying, selling, or investing. And I look forward to speaking with you then.